Hello and welcome to Here in LA, Highland Park Edition. Today we chat with Jason Reedy. Jason is an activist, a father, a marathon runner, and a member of People's City Council. You may know him as the guy Kevin DeLeon strangled while wearing a Santa's hat. You may also know him as the person who regularly brings his toddler to the city council meetings. Or maybe you know him as that tall Ethiopian who beat you in the LA Marathon. We'll talk about soul food, world traveling, religion, politics, and my favorite topic, Antifa. So let's get ready for Jason Reedy. Hey. Hey, everybody. We are here in Highland Park with Jason Reedy. Hey! We're not really in Highland Park. We're at the beautiful Robinson space.
Yes.
Home of Antifa.
Yes.
Talking with one of the co-founders of People's City Council.
I'm actually not a co-founder.
You're what?
I
There's
joined
10 co-founders? But not the brother?
Not the brother, no. Not the brother. No, I joined People's City Council in April of 2022. Although I was doing some organizing and other events with People's City Council, I didn't become an official part of them until April 2022. First black member.
Are you really?
Yes. First and only.
What?
We're diverse, though.
You are diverse.
We're not, a bunch of white people, as a lot of people like to claim.
Are there really that many haters of People's City Council, or just a few loud ones?
Oh, there's very much a large contingent, I would say.
Is there really?
They don't like the way that we operate.
Well, you can understand that, though, right?
There's different tactics that need to be used, right? We have a different tools in the toolbox, and so we're very much in your face, calling shit out as we do, and so
yes,
I'd say our enemies range from trolls online to the president of the city council.
And some of those trolls online are some kind of powerful people.
Some of them are, yeah. Andy No and some
right.
Others, yeah.
I mean, and that can, is it scary when a guy like Andy No, not because of him specifically, but because of the people who
his followers? Yeah. I try not to get too scared. I feel pretty safe in what I do. Yeah. I think the more vocal you are, the more out there you are, the safer you are in a weird way, because there's just more eyes on you.
Right. Which was my whole fear with William of Film the Police, who was one of our first guests. And I was like, I've got to get you in front of large groups of people because I'm terrified that something bad's going to happen to you. Whereas if you're more popular, I think it's safer.
It is. That wasn't the case 50 years ago, but in this day and age, it's definitely being out there, being in the public eye, does have its benefits in terms of your safety.
One of them was when he got arrested, there was a bunch of us outside of the police station waiting for him and cheering him on and all that kind of thing.
Yep.
And is that one of the reasons that you joined People's City Council, was to support them and be part of all this?
The reason I joined People's City Council was I felt like they were an organization that aligned with my values and my principles. And, I had done a lot of different interruptions of events with people like Richie. And so I thought that we would be a good fit. And so I was invited in February. I took my time. I wanted to, gain an understanding of the organization, understand, who was in the organization and kind of what other things had happened since their inception. And so once I got a download and then I joined.
That's awesome. Okay, let's rewind a little bit.
Let's do it.
Are you a native Californian?
I am not.
Where are you from?
I am originally from Newport News, Virginia.
Love Newport News.
Yep, we got Ella Fitzgerald from there.
Really?
Yeah.
I was born in D.C.
I did not know that. Okay.
So the Chesapeake Bay was a big deal for me as a little kid because we would go crabbing out there.
Okay.
Do people in Newport News, do they crab?
I only lived there for 5 years. My dad was in the military, so we moved around a lot. So we moved around. I've lived in 5 different countries.
Really?
Yeah, so grew up around the world.
What countries?
So first 5 years of my life were in Newport News. Then we moved to Pakistan for 2 years. We were in Thailand for 2 years after that. We came back, lived a year in DC, and then we did 3 years, my middle school in Bolivia, and then 4 years in Morocco.
What?
Yes.
Is this what you... Okay, we're going to get to your child in a minute.
Okay.
Because your child is making the news. Actually, you're making the news.
We both are.
There you go. Is traveling... Am I crazy to think that traveling the world like it sounds like you did was a great thing for a young person?
Oh, yeah. It's the best thing. It's the absolute best thing. Being able to visit all these different cultures, have an understanding of different viewpoints around the world. It was, it's the greatest gift I feel like my parents could have given me was the opportunity to live amongst all these different people.
So when I hear actors, for example, talk about how they were military brats and it was a horrible situation because you can't keep friends and you're always the new kid in school, it sounds like you're saying the opposite, that it was a huge benefit for you.
It was a huge benefit. Yeah. I mean, there's, you're always sad when you leave, you cry and then, you get over it after a couple weeks and you go and meet new friends. And a lot of times too, especially when you're moving, my dad was embassy duty. So basically he would work, he's worked as part of the defense attaché office, which was essentially like working with the defense people in those different countries. And so when you would move there, there's already an established American community. So for example, like in Pakistan, we lived on a compound. We weren't just like living out and about. So it was like literally a mini city or mini town. We had our own movie theater and pool and, baseball field and little park to run in and stuff.
Wow.
And then we lived like somewhere in Thailand. We lived like in the middle of Bangkok, like in a 20-story building, amongst, Thai people. Yeah. And so, so basically you learn to adapt. It actually helps you later on in life. Yeah. I feel like. So, yeah. But I do feel there are some people that move, like they're moving 20 times within, 10 years. Yeah. And so we were lucky enough to where my dad got this defense attaché, this embassy duty, which allowed us to stay in places a little bit longer.
I love it. So when did you move to LA?
2012.
Oh.
So I've lived in LA more years than I've lived in anywhere else. So been here about 11 years.
What brought you out here?
My fiance, I call her my fiance, my partner. We've been together 16 years. She got into FITM.
Oh, okay.
And so she applied to fashion schools in Miami, New York, and LA. And this is the one that she got into. So that's the reason why we moved out here.
I love it. Are you into fashion as well?
I used to be, yes, very much so. Not so much anymore.
I mean, you got a good look going.
Thank you.
This LA t-shirt I've never seen before.
This actually comes from a brother up in San Francisco. His grandfather was, or his father or grandfather was in the Black Panther Party. And so he creates Maddow Feature. He creates Black Panther related jackets and t-shirts and other things.
That is a Black Panther.
And he's Ethiopian as well. So there's that connection. I'm also Ethiopian. So there's that connection.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so when I go to Little Ethiopia, hardest block to drive in.
Yes,
in all of LA. Yes. When I go there, is it legit? Is that what real Ethiopian food tastes like?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You know what I love about Ethiopian food is going with a group, being a little drunk.
Okay.
And you get to eat with your hands.
It's the best.
Is that naan? What's that bready?
Injera.
Injera.
Yeah. It's like a It's kind of like a naan.
It's like a spongy tortilla, kind of, I guess.
Yeah, we could call it that.
It's an American way to call it.
Yes, okay.
But it's better than a tortilla.
Oh, it's much better than a tortilla. Yeah. And teff, the flour that they use in it is very good for you. Yeah.
So have you gone to Ethiopia then?
I've been to Ethiopia, yes. I haven't been in many years, but I went to Ethiopia maybe in 97. I've been twice. Wow. But I think the last time I went was 97.
So you really are a world traveler.
Oh, yeah. I've been to, I think last count was like 35 countries.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Let's talk about your child then.
Okay.
This is the product of you and your fiance?
Correct.
Okay. You never know anymore. You could have adopted this child.
I could have, yes.
Boy or girl?
He's a boy.
What's his name?
His name is Sahai.
Sahai?
Yes.
What does Sahai mean?
Sahai means the sun in Amharic, which is a language from Ethiopia.
Nice.
So my mom passed in 2018.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. And so as an homage to her, her name was Aster. and aster, she was named after the flower, the aster flower. And so we thought it'd be very cool for, to name him after the sun. And so that's a kind of way to pay homage there.
I love it.
Thank you.
Okay, so you and your son are in the news because you did something crazy. The first crazy thing that you did was you went to City Hall to air your grievances.
Wow, yes.
Which politicians used to say Angelenos didn't do enough of.
Uh-huh.
But then when people started doing it, they're like, not like that.
Yes.
And one of the not like that's is, why are you bringing is it an infant child? How old is this boy?
He's like a toddler now, I guess, 14 months old.
14, so a little bit over a year old.
Mm-hmm.
What month is it? September? Let's go back. So he's a Leo?
He's a Cancer.
Cancer, okay.
Yes. Yeah, born on the same day as Daruba bin Wahad.
Who's that?
He's a Black revolutionary, part of the Black Panther Party and the Black Liberation Army. Yeah. And born on the same day as Mike Tyson.
Hey, now. I've met Mike Tyson.
Oh.
Be careful even shaking his hand.
Oh, I could imagine.
He is. Iron Mike was the perfect nickname for him.
Yeah.
Okay. So you bring this beautiful little 1-year-old child to City Hall. Mm-hmm. And not only did a council... it was the police... Who had the issue? Tell me the story.
So this latest time that we went... or I've gone since then, but essentially what had happened was we were at a police commission meeting. And after we had disrupted the meeting because they weren't allowing people that had taken the whole morning to come down to police headquarters to give public comment, we disrupted it, saying, this is bullshit. We should be able to comment. They do this kind of process with city council. They do it where you have pretty much probably about 45 to 60 minutes of in-person comment, and then they do like 15 minutes of Zoom or virtual. In police commission, they do it one-on-one. And it's because oftentimes the people that are in the room are the ones that are calling out the LAPD, and the people on the phone are the ones supporting the LAPD.
I see.
And so, we brought up this issue around public comment and how, we should be allocated, anybody that comes down should be allocated the time to speak. Yeah. And, so we made a big hoopla. And we're kicked out. And after that, Chief Moore insinuated that I use my child as a tactic when it comes to disruption of public meetings. And said that there was an escalation of tactics on our behalf. Meanwhile, we've been doing this for as long as the commission, or as long as people have been going to the commission. The LAPC Fails Coalition, which is BLM-LA, Stop LAPD Spying Coalition, White People for Black Lives, and LA Can have been going to these commission meetings for, almost a decade. And so this isn't new stuff that's happening. And so, he made that comment. The next day we were in council because of this $1 billion that the city council was voting to give.
The extra billion.
The extra billion, exactly. And my child was in the back. He was being a baby, walking around, doing his thing, interacting with folks, having a good time. And the lead officer, the supervising officer, Dennis Clark, came over and said that he was being disruptive. My child has been in federal courtrooms doing court support for, the Vargas family, who over the summer had that. The judge never determined that he was being disruptive. I've been in county courtrooms, for example, for some of Richie's stuff. The judge never said he was being disruptive. I've been to other city council meetings. They've never said that my child was being disruptive. And oftentimes in the city council room, it's the person sitting in that chair of power, usually Paul Krikorian, that determines that something as small as coughing is a disruption. Holding up a mirror, there's various other things that we've done over the course of these last couple months that he's determined as a disruption. And he didn't say it was a disruption, but this officer chose to target me, again, because I am very effective at exposing the LAPD, and I'm not quiet about it.
Right. Was Krikorian also mad that guy was dancing when a woman was singing for KDL to resign?
He gets mad at anything.
The thinnest skin for a politician.
He certainly does, yeah.
Why would you want to be city council president with that kind of short
Well, that's
fuse?
is like on the resume. He puts it on the resume. He was thinking about running for Senate but decided not to.
Smart.
Yes, very smart. And so, yeah, this is like his kind of, he's in the final years of his term and his time on the city council. So
and probably career. This is not a young man.
Yeah, but, I'm sure he'll run for something.
He should just be on some board somewhere and just like...
I think he's on multiple boards. I think he gets a seat on the Metro board as well for being the city council president.
Oh.
Yeah. He was board of, he was not, he was on the, what is it? The finance. He was head of the finance one for so long.
I just feel like there are jobs for people like him, which I would consider typical white, powerful, quasi-Democrat.
Sure.
Not really.
He's not a Democrat.
Any other state, he would not be. Does he identify as a Democrat here?
I believe so, yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
They all do.
Anywhere
except
else,
for John Lee.
Right. Anywhere else, he would be the Republican that he is.
Yeah, most certainly.
And when I say board, I mean like the board of like Texaco or something.
Okay, yes.
You know, like where they're like, come on, Paul, how do we get the mayor to agree to this nonsense that he shouldn't agree to? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So anyways, so even Krikorian didn't say that your son was trouble.
Yes.
But this cop did. Had you had a run-in with this cop before?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He runs that specific room.
His job is to keep you guys in line.
Exactly.
And your job is not to be in line.
No, yeah. Our job again is he's multiple times kicked me out for, even daring to say something when he was saying something, when he was trying to put somebody else in their place. For the simple act of just engaging in a conversation. If he doesn't want to have a conversation with you, he'll kick you out.
Really?
Yeah. He's got a short fuse too.
Right.
As do a lot of these cops.
Right. So Krikorian probably loves this guy in that role.
Oh yeah, that's his pet dog.
That's his guy. And but you guys seem to be winning these battles.
We're absolutely winning. I mean, look at LAPD's recruitment numbers. Look at how their numbers have been dwindling these last 3 years, and that's a result of the work that's been put on the ground by organizers, not only when the uprising started, but even before that. And so, yeah, we're definitely winning this war.
You guys take credit for that.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, they're even saying that the depiction of LAPD in media and within our different communities is poor, and that's a result of us doing the work and putting in the work and really making people understand about all the different types of harms that happen as a result of the LAPD. It's not just them shooting and killing people. Yeah. It goes beyond that. It's an arrest that could change the course of your life. It's it's putting you in jail and that affecting your family, and because your family now has to bail you out and has to put the money towards the lawyer. It's all these different types of harms that they're committing in our communities.
About Karen Bass.
Okay.
I assume that most black people were so excited to have a black candidate for mayor, especially a female black candidate. And we didn't want a white billionaire to be the mayor who was super pro-cop, was on those commissions. And yet, when Karen Bass becomes mayor, it's like, how is she any different than what we feared? Do you feel that way?
Yeah, she isn't any different. And that's what we were really, we were trying to expose that throughout the campaign, throughout her campaign.
So you were calling it even then?
Absolutely, yeah.
So you were Team Gina then, I assume?
Yes.
Okay.
I voted for Gina. I did not vote for mayor in the general election.
Because you were like... I can't do this.
Both of them are
they're the same person.
They're the same. To me, they're the same when it came to policing and when it came to the unhoused.
Right.
They were the exact same. And a lot of people have this view of Karen Bass as being this progressive. And, you know, a lot of times she's had to fight back against this. She's been labeled as this defund the police candidate. She's absolutely not. She was, you know, one of the people that was in, and when I disrupted at the Spectrum debate, this is something I called out, was she was one of the people that was pushing the George Floyd, I don't remember the exact name of the act, but basically pushing for hundreds of millions of dollars to go to police for training and these other things. And so she was already doing that as a representative in the Senate and in the House, or in the House of Representatives. And so it was no question that she was going to come here to Los Angeles and do the same thing as mayor.
Right. Sometimes when I hear politicians do those things and say those things, I just assume that they are doing it because they feel like that's the only way that they could get elected.
But she could have been different. There was so much energy behind Karen Bass. You know, there was so much love for her because she was, you know, she's born here in LA, created Community Coalition, you know, was a true community organizer. And so she could have easily taken all of these white libs that follow her and love her and could have easily ran and said, hey, you know what? Maybe the police don't need an extra $1 billion. You know, maybe we can look at alternatives to police. And it would have been more palatable to these white liberals coming out of the mouth of someone like Karen Bass. Just like Obama, you know, there was so much of that same type of energy, I feel like, that Obama could have had that opportunity to, you know, say, hey, maybe we don't need to pour this money into our military. And instead, we need to pour it into the infrastructure of our country and all this other kind of thing.
Well, also, after following Garcetti, who is, when he was elected, he was the liberal white guy that these white liberals that you talk about could easily support. And he even tried to take a few pennies out of the LAPD budget, and he got eviscerated for it. And so even though Black Lives Matter was a huge thing in LA, I think the homelessness and COVID kind of counteracted the defund movement. Do you feel the same way? When you see people on the streets, and when you see what's happening in San Francisco with people getting their cars broken in left and right, it's hard to say defund the police because the average person doesn't understand really what you're saying.
Yeah, and so defund the police is, you know, it's beyond. I think that it's like one of those. It's like woke. It's just one of those terms that's thrown out there, right? And so defund the police has been criticized because, I mean, they've defunded education, they've defunded every other kind of aspect of our lives. And so as soon as you say defund the police, it becomes this like triggering thing for a lot of people. And, you know, I think a lot of people need to understand that when we say defund the police, we're not saying, you know, we want our communities to be less safe. We're saying if we allocate more resources towards our communities, toward the root causes of what causes of crime and poverty, that's going to make our communities safer.
Yes.
It's not going to be police. It's not going to be pouring more money into police who, again, have a long history of harm, creating harm in our community. And so I think that people need to go beyond those three words, defund the police, and look deeper into what people are saying around that. Like we're saying, does it make sense for us to give, you know, on average $145,000 to an LAPD officer when we could be allocating that money towards a violence interruption worker or a caseworker, or, you know, a caseworker through social workers, something like that? Does that money deserve to be with the police, or does it deserve to be in the community? And for me, I think it deserves to be in the community. We deserve that money. It shouldn't, you know, Eunice was talking about when she was saying she was against this contract, was talking about it takes 7 years to fix a sidewalk in LA. Oof. A ridiculous amount of time, right? And so we have all this money for cops, always have that money to throw towards cops. We never have money to throw at all the other kind of issues that we have within our city.
Let's talk about Kevin DeLeon.
Okay.
Because who? First of all, when Richie said I should talk to Jason, I didn't know that you were Axiom on Twitter.
Yes, Axiom Selassie.
Can you explain what your handle is on Twitter? What does that mean?
So Axiom actually comes from the kingdom of Axum, which was a kingdom in northern Ethiopia many, many years ago, probably about, I think, 130 BC it started. It was actually where when the followers of Muhammad were being persecuted, that was the first kind of pilgrimage that they had, was to the kingdom of Axum. So Axum has a lot of history, history within Christianity, within Islam. It's also where Bilal, who was the first person to call the prayer, he's an Ethiopian. So anyways, so there's all this different history within Axum. And so the Selassie part actually comes from Haile Selassie, who is a controversial figure, I think, within Ethiopia, but to the outside world, he's like someone that's a god of sorts. I mean, Rastafarians are, the Rastafari is actually the Ras, which is prince. It's a title that they give, and Tafari was his name. And so the Rastafarian name comes from Haile Selassie, who they thought was the reincarnation of God.
The things I learn on my own podcast. This is why I talk to you people. Everybody teaches me something that, Lord help you, get taught in school. Which, by the way, if you did defund the police, you'd have a better educational system.
We would.
And then you'd maybe have less crime. Because if you're smart, you can get good jobs, right?
Yeah, but
you don't have to do nonsense.
Yeah, and you also don't, smart people don't need to go to school either. There's other trades that they can go in, But anyways.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Well, I just mean regular public school.
Yes.
Just elementary, junior high.
Absolutely.
There's so much that we could have been taught as little kids.
Yes.
That we don't ever get taught. And now Republicans don't even want us to learn about history.
Yes.
Which is crazy. Okay, so that's your Twitter handle. So when he said you need to talk to Jason, I was like, who the hell's Jason? Mm-hmm. So you're Jason.
This
is
me.
Also that guy on Twitter. I saw you get strangled by Kevin DeLeon while he's wearing a Santa hat.
Yes.
Can we talk about this a little bit? Because on one hand, there's two things that are going on.
Okay.
On one hand, it looks like you want him. You literally want to be in his face. Fine. And you want to push the boundaries of personal space. Fine. But he took it a step further. And it looked like he wanted to choke you. And then when you were down on the ground, he wanted to flip you over. And that's where it gets a little crazy. Because it's not self-defense. That room was filled with people. Your hands were up in the air. And even if you are nose to nose with a guy, that doesn't mean that he gets a free shot at you. Did I portray that correctly?
Yeah, I'll say that I am in the business of making those in power who, again, create harm within our community. I want to make them feel uncomfortable. They feel too comfortable. That's the reason why they act the way they act. The fact that Kevin DeLeon felt that it was appropriate 2 months after that racist audio scandal, where he compared a black child to a handbag, where he sat there and laughed at these different racist comments, but specifically around a black child, that part. And you think that you can do this toy giveaway is bullshit. And we weren't going to let that happen.
Right.
And, the fact that we got criticism from folks saying, well, you shouldn't have interrupted a kid's event. Well, he shouldn't have been at a kid's event to begin with, right? He knew earlier that morning, he saw the anger and saw how the community still wanted him to resign, and he decided that night to go to that event.
Yes.
And our intention, I didn't go in there. I don't want any type of physical confrontation, but I want to make sure you're not welcome and you need to resign. And this was actually the first time that people had actually really caught him out in public.
Right.
Because he'd been hiding.
Yes.
Here's someone that was on this apology tour. He never came to Black LA. He went down to do an interview with Tavis Smiley, which we were outside of his studios for. But he never held a community forum or, tried to make amends with the black community in any real concrete way. And so, so when I showed up there, our whole intention was, hey, you shouldn't be at this event, and we're going to tell you, what's up, man? Resign. You're a racist, You said that shit about a black child. How do you shouldn't be around children.
Right.
And so when we made our way towards or out of the auditorium, one of his goons, who I recently found out was from Soledad Enrichment Action, which I'm not dissing that organization as a whole, but I'm just saying that's where he works. He was on, he's getting paid. He bumped me out of the way, and
this was the smaller Latino guy
yes.
at the doors?
Yes.
Okay.
He bumped me out of the way. Kevin De Leon made his way into that exit room.
Yep.
And I guess wanted to make sure the doors closed behind him. Yep. And as I have my hands up, I get pushed back. And so I'm not falling into a room backwards.
Right.
Into a room that I have never been into. And so I turn to catch myself. And as I catch myself, this motherfucker grabs me and pushes me out of the room, which you can clearly see in the video. A lot of people, I guess, have blinders on when they watch that part of the video.
Yeah.
And then he pulled me into the room. And so that's the reason why I immediately put my hands up.
Yes.
Because I'm trying to show like I'm not being the aggressor here.
Yes.
I'm not being the aggressor here.
It reminded me of basketball when you're taking a charge.
Okay.
Are you not a basketball player?
I'm a huge basketball. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But isn't that the position when you want to take a charge from a guy who's dribbling at you?
Yep.
You put your hands up and you keep your feet on their spot.
Yep.
And then they'll call the foul on that guy.
Exactly. Yeah. So I put my hands up. I'm not here to,
I'm not fighting this guy.
I'm not interested in fighting you.
Yeah.
And so I put my hands up, and then he's got his staff members and his supporters grabbing me, and there's this back and forth, right? And people claim that I threw a pelvic thrust, the infamous pelvic thrust.
Oh, I didn't hear this one.
Oh, you haven't? This was like one of the first statements that he put out was around this pelvic thrust that I threw, which is a weird term to use. Like, I don't even know, bro. It's like
he got me with his belt buckle.
Oh my god! And then there was incidental contact on our heads. I didn't headbutt him. Like a headbutt is like, I don't know if you watch soccer. Zidane.
I have.
Okay, so like a Zidane headbutt. That's a headbutt.
Yeah.
There was no headbutt. There was touching of the heads.
Right.
And and then he went to basically grab me again.
Yes.
For the second time.
This is the strangling.
Yes, and tried to like wrestle me around.
Where did he touch you?
He on my lapel.
Okay.
Like in this area, as if he did some type of judo or something. I don't know.
So he grabbed you around the collar.
He grabbed me around the collar. I'm wearing it was cold that night. I'm wearing this military jacket that weighs about 20, 25 pounds. And so he dragged me down the hallway, and then
And then did you get arrested at that point? Did you get detained?
No, I was not arrested. I left, and I was there with J-Town Action and Solidarity. We met at a location and just kind of started to process what had happened.
Were you happy that it went down? I would have been happy because this is why. We know he also has a short fuse. Because remember there was I think an event in Chinatown where protesters sat down in front of him and held up signs. And that pissed him off and he ran away. Yeah,
that was actually...
I'm sorry, Little Tokyo.
Yeah,
right.
I was there for that. So that was an AAPI debate, and it was J-Town Action and Solidarity that decided to hold a silent protest.
Which was so good.
Yeah.
It was so effective. Because you guys just sat down, because all the cameras were on these candidates, and you guys sat down in the frame with your signs, and you were quiet. And sometimes loud is the way, sometimes quiet's the way, right?
Yeah. You would say super respectful, right?
Absolutely.
Like they didn't create any noise. They went up there with the signs, and all the signs had facts about Kevin De Leon. And people don't really understand that J-Town Action and Solidarity do a lot of work in Little Tokyo, but especially around that plaza. That plaza, which had been violently swept. To this day, every week there's sweeps that happen on that same street.
Is this the plaza that has, it almost looks like a Rubik's Cube statue that you can play with a little bit?
Yes.
It's near Mr. Ramen and...
oh, no.
That's not the one?
That's not the plaza. No, it's Toriumi Plaza. It's like, it's where you can park usually...
Oh, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Closer to City Hall.
City Hall, yep.
So the western part of Little Tokyo.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that was... That was their community. They built community with the unhoused folks that had been living there.
Which also not the greatest part of town. So if you're setting a tent up there, you were in dire straits.
Yes. And so that was about, I think, a month.
And you're a block from the LAPD. Who wants to be there?
Yeah, exactly,
Right.
exactly. Yeah. Constant harassment from the LAPD.
Right.
And so a lot of people, like, I guess, forgot that, literally maybe 800 meters from where Torrey Plaza is, they're having this event. And so rightfully so, J-Town Action and Solidarity staged that silent protest.
Right.
And so, yeah, I wasn't happy after, because I knew what was coming. I knew that Kevin De Leon was going to be in front of the media, spinning this to his benefit. I knew the lies were, just that literally the week before, his chief of staff called 911 on me, saying that I was stalking her and saying that I had made a threat of violence against her. This was at a tree lighting event in Eagle Rock that I had come to. There was actually protesters that had staged a protest before. Kevin De Leon didn't show. And then after they left, he like snuck in through the back and did this whole thing. So I made my way over, and which public property.
This is his office on Colorado.
Yep.
And like Maywood, is that the street? There's a giant tree.
Yes.
They lit that one that's right next to his office.
I believe so. I didn't see the tree lighting. I came like as the event was closing.
Yeah.
And so.
So you're stalking because you're at a councilman's office?
Well, it was a public event that was for the community, right? I came right at the end. And so, yeah, it was, she tried to throw this narrative out there. Anyway, so they throw these lies out there,
right?
Hoping, which one's going to stick.
Yeah.
And so I already knew what was going to come. And so, yeah, and at the end of the day, I don't want my family to be in danger.
Right.
And so, yeah, I wasn't happy with how the situation played out.
He threatened to press charges. Did you actually press charges too?
Yes, that night around 2 a.m. ended up going, and it wasn't with the intention. So it's very tough as an abolitionist. Right. Yeah. Look, it's.
But sometimes you got to do
contradict.
The man assaulted you.
And I wouldn't have pressed charges, but the whole intent was to set the story straight.
Right.
Because he had already gone to LAPD and said that I assaulted him. He said that I elbowed one of his, Jennifer Barraza, who's his chief of staff, and that I hit another one of the attendees 3 times in the hand.
What?
Who's hitting hands? I mean, what the hell? And so I had to, we had already seen what was coming out in local media. I had to set the story straight. So I went down to one of the LAPD precincts, and I basically told my story. And as a result, that was what had to file a battery report.
Right. And you seem so reluctant to do this because I don't want to say your whole life, but part of your life is this system is fucked. We need to get rid of it.
Exactly.
But you find yourself like, oh, shit, I've got to be part of the system for a minute here.
Yeah, it's kind of like, your car gets broken into and your insurance isn't going to pay you out unless you file a police report. Right. It's unfortunately like there's some things that you have to go to the police for. And so this was a situation where, here's this person in power who's literally part of this police state that funds this police state coming after me. And so, am I going to sit here and just do nothing, or am I going to go and at least set the story straight? Like the video that came, like I provided that video to them.
But who shot it though?
That was someone from J-Town Action and Solidarity.
Who's holding your camera?
No, was just filming. We had multiple people filming.
Oh, there's multiple angles of all this? I feel like I've only seen one angle.
There is only one angle that's been released, correct?
There's more?
Well,
I have the other angles, please? Because it's all said and done. By the way, we'll jump to the chase. City attorney, the new one.
The new one, yes.
Who's worse than the old one, which is hard to do.
Yes.
Threw it both out, right? Said nothing. Kevin, he didn't do anything bad to you. And Jason, Kevin didn't do anything, right?
Yes.
She washed her hands at both of it.
Exactly, yes. They reviewed the entire video and determined that neither one of us was at fault. But, of course, that's who represents the city council is the city attorney. So the city attorney isn't going to put any fault on a sitting city council member.
But what it told me, though, she wanted to, she wanted
absolutely.
To put you in jail.
Oh, yeah.
Or not really jail, but cite you at least for something, put something on your record. She wanted to, and she couldn't.
She couldn't, yeah, because
So I like that he pressed charges, because now this terrible woman couldn't do the bad thing.
Yes. I mean, it was also...
Because you were not guilty.
Not guilty, yeah. I didn't do anything. Everything I did was in self-defense. I wasn't the first person to make any physical contact. I didn't grab him.
Right.
I didn't push him,
I feel like you were the victim the whole time, because as you described you going into that other room, you're going backwards with your hands up. He then puts his hands on you first.
Correct.
I don't know about this hip thrusting or whatever you want to call it. This magical lower torso you have. But to me, it's like you were the victim the whole time. You were retreating the entire time.
Yeah.
And, I mean, yes, initially you did get into his face first, but whatever. Come on. We're all men.
And what do we define as getting in his, like,
you were literally in his face.
I mean, but at which are we talking about once we got past?
At the very beginning.
At the very beginning. But I wasn't really in his, like, I don't know. Where I'm from, getting in somebody's face is like, right
nose
up
to
here.
nose.
Yeah, we're like in each other's face.
Were you 12 inches away, would you say?
I would say I was like
more.
Yeah.
Ooh.
What are we at? 3 feet here?
That's almost 3 feet.
I mean, of course, when you're walking and then there's a change of directions and all the other kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Where are we going on this? So, I want to talk more about Kevin.
Okay.
Just in general.
Okay.
I cannot. Okay. So, first of all, you mentioned racism a few times. This baby, how old was this baby that he compared to a handbag?
I believe.
Like your son's age?
No. Older.
Okay.
Older.
It's like 3 years old, something like that?
I think when they talked about Mike Bonin's child on the float, he was 3 years old.
Okay.
I think by the time they had that conversation, he was maybe 6 or 7.
Oh, wow.
I can't.
Okay.
I can't say specific.
So anyway, so Bonin is a former council person.
Yes.
I
don't like him either.
He's not punk rock enough for you?
No, I don't like Mike Bonin.
Is there anybody on the council that you like?
I can get down with Eunice's,
okay,
my city council member, because she's an abolitionist.
And has voted against funding.
Has voted, yes. Not just
not consistently.
Oh, no, she has consistently voted against funding.
She voted against the bonus billion?
She did.
Good for her.
Yeah.
I feel like she did something that wasn't liked on Twitter.
She has voted for each one of the police commissioners that come in. So Rasha Shields, who works for Jones Day, which is the law firm that represented Trump in multiple occasions.
Right.
Big right wing contingent.
So maybe that's where she got a little heat from.
Yeah. And then also Errol Southers, who's a former FBI agent, Santa Monica PD, actually funded a POW program that led to one of their volunteers molesting over 200 children.
Oh my God.
Yes. So these are the types of people that she voted for their nominations. And then the Jamie York, I think, was the latest thing that she got flack for.
That was the one.
Which rightfully so.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll still keep her accountable.
Right.
But at least she is someone that votes with her principles. I don't like some of the ways that she interacts with other council members.
Right.
But anyways, yes, if there was one that I had to get behind, like Reese, it would be her.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So Bonin, who many people consider a liberal, which is why I love talking to the People's City Council, because you're like, are they really liberals? Mm-hmm. Which is good. We need that in life. We need people to push us a little bit and say, just because they have a D next to their name, or just because they vote for homeless stuff occasionally, really take a look at their record, is what you guys are saying, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's someone that says that Joe Buscaino is a good friend.
He did?
Yes. And he gave this parting speech to Joe on his last day at council and talked about, we fight like brothers and, you're a close friend.
This was Richie used to call him Joey Buckets, right?
Joey Buckets, yeah, 1% Joe.
And he was a cop.
Yeah, he's still a reserve LAPD officer.
Why?
Yeah.
Why do you think Bonin has warm feelings for him?
They're both Italian. I don't fucking know.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean, there's that part.
They're paisans.
They were desk mates, so maybe that led to it.
And you know what? We all have friends that are problematic.
Yeah, but Joe Buscaino is like on another level of problematic. So anyone that would call Joe Buscaino their friend is not someone that I fuck with.
I hear you. Okay. Bonin called KDL a racist.
Sure.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Which politicians don't usually say about their cohorts.
Yeah. But I mean, every single person on the city council was essentially saying that.
Essentially. Bonin actually said it.
Okay.
I mean, I give a shit what people actually say.
Okay.
And so he really said it, which I thought was, okay, he has to go now. Mm-hmm. But there's no structure to get rid of a racist council person is what we've learned from KDL.
Yes, there is no... So technically, yes, they have no power to remove him. They removed him from all of his committee assignments, but...
Did that stick? Or is he still off of all the committee assignments?
He is off all of the different committee
assignments. All right, well, that's good.
Yeah, it's like a small win, I guess.
Well, it's good because you know he's got an ego.
Oh, yeah.
So it's got to hurt.
He's got probably the biggest ego in the room.
Oh, you think so?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. The way he walks, the way he says, "Thank you very much." Like he's Elvis or some shit. Absolutely.
Okay, why should people want to support People's City Council?
Because we are at the forefront of getting shit done here in LA, I feel like.
Yeah.
And so the reason why you should support us, the reason why you should back us is we do a wide variety of things, including running this community space, the Robinson space that we're recording this podcast out of. And I feel like we should be supported because the people in power, oftentimes, when they name organizations, we're right at the top of that list as people that they don't fuck with. And so there's a reason why.
Right.
And so I would say, we're, do a lot of political education on Twitter. We are definitely do a lot of direct action work. And so our enemy, City Council and LAPD, have deemed us to be one of their enemies. And so I think that's reason by itself to support us, to be honest with you.
That's the seal of approval.
That is a seal of
approval. If the cops hate you, you're probably doing something.
Absolutely.
Can we talk about Antifa real quick? Because I made a joke at the beginning. And I don't think people understand sarcasm all the time.
Okay.
Because I even told my buddy, I was like, don't call me for the rest of the night because I'm interviewing Antifa.
Okay.
Which I think is funny. Hopefully you think it's funny too. But for people who don't know about the nuance and why that's funny, can you explain it a little bit? Because when I first interviewed Richie and he had Antifa shirts and all this stuff, he explained it to me really well. But I feel like for as courageous as you guys are, you don't want anything to do with Antifa, is what it sounds like. Educate me.
Yeah, I'm a black revolutionary. I feel like a lot of times Antifa is characterized as your, in your mid-20s, white anarchist, basically.
From Portland.
From Portland, exactly. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. And so, and Antifa is an ideology, right?
Okay.
So it's short for anti-fascism for folks that don't know.
Which everybody should be able to get behind.
Yes, in theory.
Because the biggest fascists were Nazis, right?
Yeah, Nazis. I mean, Mussolini and the black shirts.
But it's easy to say, I'm against Nazis.
It should be easy, but a lot of people have problems even saying that they're, against fascism.
Were you against what Antifa in Portland did?
I don't, I'm not in the business of condemning, are we talking property damage here or?
Well, the only thing that I saw, and again, it was a big group of people, so I don't know who's who, but remember when they were surrounding this, I guess it was a federal bank or something, and Trump would send in all these border patrol people to protect it, all that. There's the moms, the wall of moms. I forget. It was only 2 years ago, and I still have forgotten.
Yeah, I mean,
was that Antifa?
Yeah. What? So
I guess we don't know.
The right wing will label anything that's
Anything's Antifa.
counter government Antifa.
That's
I feel
right.
like at this point, anything
That's
that they're against is Antifa. Anything
Right.
that they,
So that's a reason you don't want to be in that bucket.
yeah, I don't myself refer to myself as being part of Antifa or part of any type of Antifa type thing. I mean, obviously I'm anti-fascist. My family fought Italians who came to conquer Ethiopia in the 1890s.
Really?
And so, yeah, so like, and died fighting fascists. So
What year again?
in the 1890s, there's 2 wars with the Italians. So I'm not, yeah, like that's in my blood. I don't need the label of like Antifa. This it's just I feel like it was a made up thing by the right wing to label anybody that's counter to them.
I wish people could see Jason. His eyes just squinted up like he just ate the worst piece of rotten fruit.
Yeah. So personally, yeah. I refer to myself as I'm an abolitionist. I'm an African. I am a revolutionary. I don't normally or ever say I'm Antifa.
Right. None of you guys do.
Yeah.
And maybe you've explained why. Because that's their thing up in Portland. Or was. Because it didn't really kick in. I don't see anybody claiming to be Antifa outside of the Portland people.
I think there are people throughout the country that would
There's
still.
a few?
Yeah. And again, it's an ideology. Like, it's,
Right.
it's like no different than capitalism or socialism. These are ideologies.
Yes.
And
But on the other side of the coin, like Proud Boys. I feel like there's Proud Boys all over the place. And they're proud to be Proud Boys.
yes.
But I feel like extreme or far left activists around the country are kind of punk rock in that they don't want to be labeled. They don't want to have a leader. They don't want to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, a label is conforming. Like as soon as you're labeled as something, you now have to conform to like what people think of that label. So
Right. And you got to wear the uniform.
you got to wear the uniform.
You got to do the thing that everybody else is doing.
Antifa is, what is it? Just blocked up? You're in all black and stuff?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, but a lot of people do that. I feel like more people are willing to say, yeah, I'm an abolitionist. I'm an anarchist. I'm a socialist. But yeah, this is kind of like a war of language, right?
Yes.
Like the right wing is saying you're Antifa. This is woke.
Right.
And it's on us to define what we are.
Yes.
And so I think there's power in that.
And by the way, I think that what you guys have done here in LA is super vital, super important. And by the way, did you see the Proud Boy leader today who got sentenced 22 years? Mm-hmm. His lawyer was saying he was just there to like battle Antifa. And even the judge said 22 years. So even the judge isn't buying this.
Yeah.
That this boogeyman of Antifa that
boogeyman.
even Trump used to say all the time doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist in the way that they think it exists, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Again, there are so many different people that embrace the anti-fascist ideology.
Of course. As we should.
As we should, yes.
The Blues Brothers were fighting Illinois Nazis. You didn't watch The Blues Brothers? My favorite movie of all?
No, sir.
You're going to love it. The Illinois Nazis were after the Blues Brothers in this movie, as well as the cops.
Okay.
You're going to love the Blues Brothers.
I mean, some cohesion there.
Everybody hated the Blues Brothers.
Yes, but also the likely that those Nazis were also part of the police department.
Not in this movie.
Okay.
They were separate.
Okay. Maybe when they reboot it, they'll include it.
It was 1980. It was a different time.
Okay. I might have watched it when I was young.
You need to see it again. What?
I prefer to watch films and TV shows and other that feature black people specifically. That are either written by black people, directed by black people, or feature black people. I try to allocate outside of 90 Day Fiance. 90 Day Fiance, not sure if you watch.
I've had to mute that on my Twitter.
Oh, shit.
Because people are obsessed.
I am one of those people.
You are too?
Yes. I watched 90 Day Fiance UK, 90 Day Fiance the other way, 90 Day Fiance before the 90 days. That is my my go-to garbage TV.
Really?
It's very intriguing.
Well, explain.
Well, oftentimes, so you have people that go the other way. So like instead of them coming to America, they're going to these other people's countries. And so
to marry these people.
To marry them and live there.
Okay.
So they'll be in...
Because they're so lonely in America?
I guess. I don't know. You know?
You watch the show?
Yes. I would say, you find love in different places. And a lot of times these people are online.
Yep.
I'm not familiar with this process, but a lot of people go on those apps and stuff, and sometimes they find someone that's in Ethiopia or in France or in the Philippines or something.
They're like, baby, I'll see you. What's the biggest city in Ethiopia?
Addis Ababa, the capital.
Addis Ababa.
I
could never have a fiance over there. I can't even name the town.
Hey, it's okay. But yeah, Addis Ababa. And there was one of the famous couples is from they went to Ethiopia, so it was very cool to see.
Oh,
The Weeknd, I would say, is the most famous Ethiopian out there.
Weeknd?
Oh yeah.
What? I never knew. Does he promote that he's from there?
No, what was very disappointing was during his Super Bowl, he didn't, reference. He could have sang in Amharic. He could have
had a flag.
Yeah, I mean, there's also Ethiopia. There's been a genocide happening in Tigray. And so it's been definitely a lot of horrible things have happened in Ethiopia. So some people aren't as willing to rep Ethiopia. They battle with that.
Okay. So your advice to people, go to City Hall, bring your child, let KDL in your face.
Oh my God.
Have people videotape it, join the People's City Council. Give money to the People's City Council. Go vegan. What else? I'm trying to summarize here. Stop eating fried chicken. Those are your lessons.
You could start with pork. I don't know if you like to eat pork.
Oh, of course I do.
Okay, so start there.
Ribs?
Maybe get off the pork and then make your way to the chickens and the
Pork
beef.
ribs? Okay. When you smell bacon though,
Okay.
that just doesn't it never tempts you, the smell of bacon?
No, I don't get tempted. Again, I'm a very principled person. So, once I set my mind to something, once I set in turkey, bacon, I used to I got off the pork. So I converted to Islam when I was 16 years old.
Did you?
I've now since converted back to Christianity.
What?
But anyways, I was Muslim. And so the last time I ate pork was in 2002.
I've never heard of somebody doing that.
Going back?
Not a black person, too Muslim, back to the blue-eyed Jesus.
No, I don't believe in the blue-eyed Jesus. All right, I believe in the black Jesus. Okay?
There you go.
Let's get it right. I believe that.
What did the Bible say about his hands and feet? They were bronze or copper.
Yeah, something like that.
Right.
And his hair was,
curly,
like lamb's.
Yeah,
lamb's wool.
Yeah.
And my belief is he was born in a cave in Ethiopia. That's a whole nother conversation.
Okay.
But yeah, so I don't believe in the white, and that's one of the reasons why I converted to Islam was I really did struggle with this idea of a white Jesus that was pushed upon me.
Yes.
Not by my mother and father because they weren't really religious, but by my grandparents on my dad's side who were Catholic. So I would go and spend the summers with them in Daytona Beach.
Where Daytona Beach? You
Daytona
say?
Beach, yeah. And
Strike two, right there. Catholic Church, Florida.
Yes.
Beautiful churches, though. Or was this one of those hippie churches?
It was. Oh no, it was not a hippie church. It was a basic church. It wasn't anything to report back on.
Well, because I grew up Catholic too.
Okay.
And so sometimes the Catholic church, long-haired guy with acoustic guitar, hey, everybody gather around.
Yeah.
But then sometimes it was like the big ass cathedral.
Yeah.
Where there was no monkey business with acoustic guitars.
There was the organ. The organ came
big ass organ.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think mosques generally are more beautiful than churches.
Oh.
Personal opinion.
But still, you switched over.
I switched over. It was an easy switch. It was kind of like a whole. I was 16. I was learning about the Iraq War had started. The second one had started, and so I was learning about American imperialism.
Yeah.
And really becoming conscious of what I had been fed my whole life about the U.S. military and America and everything. And so I think also understanding, I'd read the autobiography of Malcolm X.
Okay.
And so those different things had really led me down this road to Islam. And I was like, okay, this makes more sense. Like going to church every Sunday wasn't something that I was like, I'm like, these people go to church and then they're fucking horrible people the rest of the week.
Right.
Didn't make sense to me. But like praying 5 times a day, that was like, okay, this is like more devout. Like that makes sense. And it's more, you do it in a group setting, but you also do it as it's individualized, right? Mm-hmm. And Ramadan, like the concept of Ramadan really, really grabbed me because I was like, this is amazing. Like, to not eat or drink from sunset from sun up to sundown is like, wow, that, and for 30 days and to see my homies who, I used to play varsity basketball and during practice, like, 2-hour practice, I'm over here gulping water and these motherfuckers are just chilling.
Yeah.
It just really opened my eyes. And so,
were you listening to Ice Cube at the time? Is that why you're wearing that White Sox hat?
I wore it. I wore it to be contrarian. I went to Japan 3 months ago and I bought it for Japan. I just always wanted a Sox hat.
Wow.
I very much. I don't watch baseball anymore.
You were such a world traveler.
Thank you. And so this is actually one of the most popular, if not the most popular hat in Japan. Maybe because of Ice Cube. I don't know. But I've always wanted a Sox hat, so I bought it, and I know you're a Cubs fan. That's why I wore it today.
And, I appreciate that I was in your thoughts in any way. What brought you back to Christianity, though?
My mom passing. She was Ethiopian Orthodox, and so my mom passing and just, kind of reevaluating my life. And so, yeah, I converted back, but I'm not like a devout Christian by any means. Like I'm not reading the Bible every day or other kind of things.
I kind of am.
Oh,
and,
okay.
And by the way, those of you listening at home, everybody should read the Bible at least once.
Sure.
Because our crazy country is built on it. Mm-hmm. Kind of. They pretend like they are. And so that to me is the best reason to read the Bible is so when people like Ted Cruz, worse, Marco Rubio, when he tweets biblical phrases on Sundays and then is anti-immigration, which Jesus was clearly pro-immigration. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, he's full of shit. These people aren't truly Christians. Yeah. We've read the book. And Jesus would never be a Republican in a million years.
Yep.
And so I'm not saying don't be a Republican if you don't want to, but don't pretend that the Bible has anything to do with their quote-unquote values.
Exactly.
Because the Bible is about helping the poor, ignoring money.
Yeah.
In fact, if you have money, sharing it, helping people, just being cool to people.
Yeah. And Rastafarians, a lot of people don't know this, they religiously read the Bible.
Do they?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Bob Marley, so if you ever go to his house in Kingston, he had a Bible right by his bed that he would read. His own personal Bible.
I love that.
He actually converted to Christianity, I think, on his deathbed.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't know that.
Now I do. Now
I don't know if it'll make the movie. I don't know if you saw the movie that they're making or that they've already made.
Who's going to play Bob? Is one of his kids?
No.
He's got a ton of kids.
Yeah, he has. He got around. He definitely got around. No, they brought in another actor. He kind of looks like him. I don't know. I'm always wary about these movies.
Those are my favorite movies, by the way, because I love music so much that I want to hear every single story there is, even if it's in a bad movie. Mm-hmm. And sometimes these movies are good. And Bob Marley, I think, has a documentary that was pretty good. I think just called Marley.
Yeah, there's quite a few. Yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting. Jason, you've taught me so much.
Thank you. As of you.
People should follow you on Twitter for sure.
Yeah.
Because you're very active.
Axum Selassie, yes.
AXUMSELAISSE. You got to change that.
Learn it. It's easy.
But
just the Axum part is very easy. AXUM.
This is a blue-eyed America. And we need things to be very basic, bitch.
I don't give a fuck about the blue-eyed fucking people, bro.
What I'm saying is...
I'm here. Black people know how to fucking put that shit in there. That's all that matters to me. I don't give a fuck about what white people, if it's hard to pronounce. My son's name is Sahai, and it's very interesting to see, white people struggle with that name. I don't want white people... I mean, no offense. I don't hate all white people.
Yeah.
But yeah.
People City Council just came into the room. You flipped. You've been so polite this whole time, and all of a sudden you're like, I don't give a shit what white people.
I don't
struggle with my name. Struggle hard.
Yeah.
Cry harder.
Yeah.
So when you first met Richie, were you like a brother from another mother?
No, not necessarily. I met him the first time was outside of Garcetti's house, August 2020. Yeah. Crazy, right? And we had gotten pushed back. They'd held a protest, People City Council, alongside some other folks.
Yep.
And so we had like marched around the block and was staging in front of the house and down the street. And so that was the first time. So police eventually arrested one of the protesters, and then had pushed us all back. So that was the first time I met him.
Only reason I say it is because when the flip switches on both of you guys, and you're ready to yell, it's beautiful because it's so pure. You mean it. It's based in idealism, and it's based in humanity.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like a lot of times, and I don't know if Richie categorizes himself as a revolutionary. I actually never had that conversation with him. But revolutionaries, they tend to be equated with violence.
Right.
And, as Assata Shakur says, revolutionary is love. It's love for our people. It's love for our planet. It's love for, humanity. And so that's something that I think it's mistaken. Yeah, at times we express, righteous indignation.
Right.
And at times it's we're going to yell and we're going to scream and we're going to be in your face and stuff. But oftentimes we have to understand that we are we're here to take the system down and build something in its place, right? And so another thing that Assata says is we have to be weapons of mass construction, right? We need to build, and that's very much part of being a revolutionary is building. It's building community power. It's building all these different kind of things outside of this system that perpetually tries to kill us and harm us. And so yeah.
Well, thank you for doing that here in LA.
Appreciate it.
And I honestly do love what you guys do. It's hard work, but it seems like you're making a difference.
I would say so, yeah. I mean, we're a small contingent, and I think you've interviewed now. Am I number 4?
I think you're number 4.
Number 4. Yeah, we're a small group, but we do quite a bit. Yeah, we bring the ruckus for sure.
Well, assalamu alaikum.
Okay.
Did I say it right?
You said it right. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
How great was Jason? You know who we'd eat vegan fried chicken with? Our Patreons. When you stoke us, you're saying, Tony, every episode I learned so much. Here's a super big gulp of love. So shout out to our Patreons. Nancy Rommelman, Sean Atlow, Matt Mills, Sean Wallace, Greg and Molly, Jamie Taylor, Mark Johnson, Kira Ann, Barney Grenke, Ben Welsh, Jen Adams, Trevor Wilson, Bree Wild, Dougie Gyro, Christina Up North, Robin Carey, Adam Shorn, Ben from Down Under, Chris from the ATX, Gregor, and our newest Patreon, Phil. To be a Patreon, just go to patreon.com/hereinla and give till it hurts. Want to support us, but if your wife finds out, she'll kill you? You can still help. Post your favorite episode on your Facebook. Somebody did that the other day and it blew my mind. So thank you. Oh, Molly did. Thank you, Molly. If you want, people, you can top Molly by posting 2. What? Tweet something nice about this. In fact, anytime you see me tweet about an episode, retweet it, and for God's sakes, tell your friends. Tell them how Here in LA is spelled and that it's on Apple Podcasts and Google and even Spotify. This episode of Here in LA was produced by myself, Tony Pierce. So you may have heard some production flaws that you'd never heard before. That's because this was my first one. I somehow I deleted the part where Jason actually talked about Highland Park. We talked about soul food. We talked about how People City Council are really good bowlers. All that's gone because I'm a sloppy amateur at all this production. And music by some royalty-free YouTube page I found. So that's why the music's a little different. Special thanks to Cindy for creating the logo, Jen for inspiring this, Jordan, my bro, for all the love and support. God bless you. I love you. And activists everywhere who take time out of their day to do their civic duty. Oh, by the way, Jason, this is breaking news almost. Jason is suing KDL. So all you Christians, all you Muslims, all you people who just pray that Jason wins this civil suit, which I think he just pressed charges on KDL a few days ago. So that's the little update if you've made it this far into the show, which is at the end. Thank you, Patriots.